It was a warm Saturday, and I knew it was going to be busy at the Tiger's Den, one of the clubs I owned downtown in Las Vegas. The manager I employed, Danny, said it was going to be a big night since he booked multiple birthday booths and had gotten Ice Money, a local famous DJ, to come work for us tonight. I wanted to make sure everything was going smoothly, so I decided to pop in tonight. I had skipped the line like I always do and went straight to the VIP entrance. When somebody's hand reached out to stop me, I looked at the face of the offender and saw someone who looked very familiar. He was wearing the bouncer uniform that I had designed, but he was definitely not one of my hires. "Where do you think you're going?" His voice was so familiar and sent a flash of annoyance in me for some reason. "Who are you?" The bouncers around him were the ones I've hired. Jason, Millie, and Enrique looked alarmed and was about to step in, but I raised a hand to halt them. "Who are you to ask me that? Where's your ID? You're trying to sneak in? What a loser." Even though I was angry, I tried calmly to take a breath as I inspected him. He was a buff man, with shaggy, long black hair. He was tall, but I was taller. His eyes were an angry brown, the same angry brown from all those years ago. He may not recognize me, but I remember who he was. It all started in the 9th grade. Everything was so exciting. The bright-colored lockers, pretty girls. I was a bit shy, but was excited to see all the books they had at the library, since I couldn't always afford to buy new ones. My best buddy from middle school, Alex, was also going to be in the same classes, and I thought it was going to be the best days of our lives. That starry-eyed wonder was shut down when a locker slammed in my face. "What are you looking at?" This big kid with bigger hands grabbed my bag off my shoulders and pushed me down hard. I couldn't believe this was happening. This was something that happened in books and TV shows, but not in my life. "Look at all this stuff! I bet you're a big nerd!" My heart was beating so fast I could barely say a sentence. Stop it! Tears were at the corners of my eyes as I tried to pick up my textbook. He had a grin on his face as he grabbed the Twinkie that my mother had packed me as a snack. He had ripped open the wrapper and stuffed it right in his mouth. The other students were starting to round the corner, and I was flushed in embarrassment. I grabbed my stuff, and before I could grab my last binder, his hands whipped out to get it, fast as a snake eating its prey. He had it in his hand and looked at the front cover. "Victor, huh? A lame name to suit a lame person." He threw the binder at me with great force. "I think I'll be signing a lot of you, Pipsqueak," he said with a wicked grin on his lips. The hallways were now filled, and the other students either had pitying looks or the same sneer that was on this boy's face. A boy I didn't even know the name of. He laughed and ran towards a group of older students. A girl, who was shaking her head at him, was grabbed into his arms in a big bear hug. I felt like a fish in a bowl, with everyone staring at my weakness. I ran. That was only the beginning. I found out his name later that day from Alex. He heard about what happened today at school from all the other gossiping students. He told me that the bully's name was Jonathan, a popular junior. Even though he was a bully, he was on the basketball team, and helped the school win a bunch of games in his sophomore year. So, even though he had a terrible personality, the teachers and other students respected him. The next 2 years were brutal. Before I even saw him, he would grab me by the shoulders and drag me into the washroom and put my head in the toilet. He would take all the snacks from my bag, and at one point, I just stopped packing them. The other students wouldn't do anything. The teachers felt as if I couldn't tell them. It was embarrassing enough, but they doted on him. They wouldn't pick me over him, a short kid who didn't play any sports, couldn't win against the bully with a solid free throw. My friend Alex tried to step in once and was pushed down by a heavy blow to the chest, so I told him I didn't want him to get involved at all. When it was the end of sophomore year, he had knocked me down and then sprayed a red paint that I assumed he stole from the art classroom all over me. "I'm going to miss messing with you." He looked sad at the prospect of leaving high school. I don't even really know how he graduated, but he got a sports scholarship at one of the biggest colleges nearby.
A loser like you should always be beneath me.
A grin reaching up to those angry, angry eyes. I tried to avoid those eyes every time he would bully me. But today, feeling free at the prospect of never seeing him again, I tipped my head up. You know, one day I won't even know you, but I do know that wherever I am, I will never be beneath you, because I was never, ever beneath you. I looked at him in his dark eyes. For the first time ever, I felt brave, even if I was still on the floor. I was rewarded with a spit to the face. He grabbed me by the collar and yanked me up.
Big talk for someone who can only ever be pushed around. People cannot change who they are. You will always be a lame nerd who can't even get a girl. I can't wait to see you in the future, begging me for a job so I can walk all over you again.
He threw me against the locker. Those are the last words I have heard from him since. I started junior year and had a fresh start. Alex and I made friends with the art club members and eventually joined. I entered a creative writing class and started working on a novel. It was about a local undercover superhero who was actually a high school boy that could read people's innermost thoughts. My last few high school years were the most calm and fun I could be. I did my best to grow out of my shell and did the things I enjoyed. I was 2 years into my business college degree when my book got published. I became a bestseller and wrote 2 more parts to the novel I created in high school. I eventually sold the idea to a movie company, and 2 years later, my stories came to life. With the money I got, I could have put it into anything. I decided that in the days of my art class, I wanted to start a business filled with life and color. So, I created a chain of clubs called the Tiger's Den. I wanted to feel free and happy, and it happens to be very popular these days. Ah, I see you don't know who I am. I smirked as I flashed Jonathan my ID. He looked at me like he wanted to throw me across the property that I own. I'm Victor, the kid you bullied in high school. I'm also the CEO of the Tiger's Den. I stared at him straight in the eyes, with a frown pulling at my lips. Although I do not remember hiring you, I assume you're one of the new recruits that Danny had got. I must say I'm disappointed in his selection. I have now grown from being a short teenager and was now above 6 foot. The bouncers I had walked over to stand by me.
Would you like us to walk him off the premises, sir?
Go, call Danny.
Wait, no! Please, I need this job. This isn't fair.
Whatever happened to saying I was going to get a job from you one day? You fell from grace pretty hard, haven't you? He was pitying to look at. He was on his knees, begging. Oh, boss, I'm so sorry. I got a recap of what was happening. I didn't know who he was. Danny had come running and was out of breath.
Please, I can't get another job anywhere else. I've been out of jail and no one wants me. I hit my ex-girlfriend one time and they put me in the slammer.
The color of Danny's face at Jonathan's words. That was definitely not in his resume. You know, Jonathan, it took me some time to break out of my shell and become a person that was not the terrible words you used to call me. You told me I would always stay a loser, and I became a successful businessman. You, on the other hand, stayed a bully. I do not employ bullies. You are now fired and will not be able to work for any of my businesses. I will have the others walk you off the premises. I will also be letting all my contacts in the business know of your past, in case you try to lie your way into their establishments. I nodded at the guys waiting to take him.
This can't be happening! I should be you!
I shook my head. Later, when I called my old school friend, Alex, he told me all the news he heard about Jonathan. His basketball scholarship had gotten revoked when he bullied some other college students. They had a strict, no bullying rule, and he was told that he could not come back to their school. He started drinking to cope, and it made his bad personality even worse. His ex-girlfriend from high school filed for domestic violence as well as assault and battery. She won, and he was sent to jail for 5 years. It made me think that all people can change, but a bully will always be a bully. I felt my breath leave me in a gasp.